All right, let's jump right in. We've got a genuine cosmic detective story for you today. A chemical puzzle that has been a total head-scratcher for astronomers for decades. And it's happening right in our own backyard, our solar system. And get this, the clue that cracked the whole case, it was found completely by accident, 50 light years from home.
So what's the big mystery? Well, it's all about silicon. You see, silicon is one of the most common things in the entire universe. I mean, it's everywhere. So you can imagine how weird it was when scientists kept looking for it in the atmospheres of our biggest planets and finding absolutely nothing. It's kind of like walking into a forest and not seeing a single tree. It just doesn't make sense.
So let's begin our investigation. And our prime suspects? Well, they're the gas giants. For years, these massive worlds have been keeping a big secret tucked away deep inside those swirling clouds. So picture this. For decades, scientists are pointing their telescopes at Jupiter and Saturn, and they're all looking for one thing, that chemical fingerprint of silicon. I mean, based on everything we know, every model, every theory, it had to be there. But nope, it wasn't. Every single time they looked, they came up empty-handed. We're talking probes, powerful telescopes, you name it, nothing. And this wasn't just a small problem, it was a huge disconnect between what our science predicted and what we were actually seeing. The element was officially a missing person, and honestly, no one had a clue where to look next.
Okay, so this is where the story takes a really cool turn. The key witness in this whole case, it wasn't anywhere near the scene of the crime. It was this strange, ancient object, found completely by accident, and it was about to change everything.
So, let's talk about something called a brown dwarf. These things are fascinating. They're kind of stuck in the middle. Too small to be a star, but way too big to be a planet. And here's the cool part. Their atmospheres are almost like perfect copies of the ones on gas giants. This makes them amazing natural laboratories for scientists, you know? They can study them to understand planets like Jupiter, but without a super bright star getting in the way.
And this specific brown dwarf has a great origin story. It was found back in 2020, not by a professional astronomer, but by a citizen scientist named Dan Caseldon, just digging through public NASA data. It got the nickname The Accident because its chemistry was so weird, so out there, that all the automated computer searches just missed it. It was this faint, peculiar little dot, and scientists knew right away that if they were going to figure this thing out, they needed to bring in the big guns, the James Webb Space Telescope.
And this is what makes it so mind-blowingly special. The accident is somewhere between 10 and 12 billion years old. Let that sink in. The entire universe is only about 14 billion years old, so we're not just looking at some random object in space. This is a genuine fossil from the dawn of time.
So the JWST finally turns its incredible eye towards this ancient relic, and as it analyzed the light passing through its atmosphere, boom, it found it. The smoking gun, the one clue that was going to blow this whole case wide open.
The clue was a molecule called Silane. Now, this might not sound like a big deal, but trust me, it was huge. This was the very first time anyone had ever confirmed seeing this molecule in the atmosphere of, well, anything like this. Not in a brown dwarf, not in a gas giant, anywhere. It was a first.
So what exactly is silane? It's actually super simple. You just take one atom of our missing element, silicon, and you stick 4 hydrogen atoms to it. You know, hydrogen, the most common thing in the whole universe. That's the entire recipe. Okay, so this is the million-dollar question, right? How does finding this little molecule in some super old brown dwarf solve our mystery back at Jupiter, a modern planet? Well, it all comes down to one thing. The universe back then was a very different place than the universe is today. And here it is. This is the whole solution. See, back in the early universe where the accident was born, there just wasn't much oxygen around. So silicon's only choice for a dance partner was hydrogen. They teamed up to make that silane gas we talked about, which is really light and just floats high up in the atmosphere, totally visible. But fast forward to today in our oxygen-rich neighborhood, now silicon has a new favorite partner, oxygen. They grab onto each other, form heavy stuff like quartz, think sand, and that stuff just sinks deep, deep down below the clouds, completely hidden from view.
So, there you have it. The silicone was never actually missing at all. It was just hiding in plain sight, disguised in a totally different chemical form. Case closed. Its fate was decided billions of years ago by the chemistry of the era it was born in.
But solving this one mystery is about more than just finding some silicon in Jupiter. It actually unlocks a whole new way of thinking about planets and their atmospheres, not just here, but all across the galaxy.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, first off, we finally cracked a cold case that's been bugging scientists for decades, which is awesome. But the really profound idea is that a planet's atmosphere is like a chemical fossil. It's a snapshot, a perfect record of the cosmic time period it was born in. And that gives us an incredible new tool for studying the thousands of exoplanets we're finding out there.
You know, the lead author on the study, Jackie Faraday, really nailed it. She said, sometimes it's the extreme objects that help us understand what's happening in the average ones. And that's so true here. The accident was a total weirdo, an outlier, and that's precisely why it held the key to solving this whole thing.
And that leaves us with a pretty mind-bending thought, doesn't it? If a planet's atmosphere is really a fossil record, it just makes you wonder, what other incredible secrets about the universe's past are hiding out there in plain sight, just floating in the clouds of some distant world, waiting for us to figure out how to read them?